DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
I don't have my lights on. I don't have. There we go. Now I have a light on in the back.
Part of the show.
Yeah, there we are. You know what? And the video's cut off. Good evening. Welcome to the sort of headless people at the top of the video screen. Yeah, I got to fix that. So tonight, hey, you could be watching us out on Facebook. You could be watching us on YouTube, or you could be watching us out on Chew.tv. We are everywhere tonight because we're like Visa. We're where you want to be. Or no, everywhere you want to be. How does that go?
Is that like in the 70s?
Shh.
Is that how you old people are?
Shh. You hurt right there. You just rip it. Rip my. Okay.
But the thing is that everyone knows that I'm older than you, so that's why I can do these jokes.
Oh, that's why they work so well. So thank you for joining us. We've got some people coming in tonight. We're going to be talking about Serato. MJ, why don't you take it from here and kind of explain what we're going to be doing tonight?
We're going to be talking about Megaseg.
Nice. And this is going to be our best show ever.
And scratching. No. Scratching with Megaseg.
Megaseg scratching. I'll go get my Fisher-Price deck. I'll be right back.
No, tonight we are going to talk all about Serato. Answer any questions. We have already had one sent in that we're gonna touch base on. We're gonna talk about some upcoming Serato stuff. But I thought who better to have on for the Serato night was DJ Supafly. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah, glad to have you back. For those of you, he came in on a show a while back and sat in with us. If you don't know his resume, just go check him out. Who was the last game that you opened for?
Pitbull, Enrique Iglesias, and a small little Spanish band at an Excel Energy Center for about 20,000 people. So.
20,000, just a couple.
Just a couple.
Casual friends.
Yeah.
But, he was the one who kind of let me learn more about the Serato before it was released. He has been a Serato tester for years, one of their beta testers. And for those of you who are young, he has used, and for many years used, Scratch. So if you don't know what that is, you're young.
Yeah, Scratch is definitely the point where the whole DJing era started with before Serato DJ. So they're the ones that upgraded the program to make it a little bit more familiar with everybody, so that it turned into Serato DJ, and then it got a little bit more popular with everybody in the DJ community. So yeah.
See, y'all didn't even know that. You learned something already. All right, so I have a question that was sent in, and this is kind of intricate, and I don't know where you can go with this, but while we are going over this question, those in the chat, feel free to throw your questions at us. John's watching the chat room, and we're going to do our best to answer your questions tonight, and then later on, we're going to wildly speculate about Serato's future. Question. I have run Serato Pro for months without a problem. 2 weeks ago, the same week Windows 10 did a big spring update. Serato Pro stopped playing music. A yellow banner at the bottom of the skin popped up. It said, "File failed to load. This could take a minute." He said, "I immediately pressed play and the song resumed to play. This happened twice during the event." Have you heard this issue? Do you know anything about this issue? Is this a common thing?
Windows, I've heard from Windows that the new update that they released is having a lot of issues with a lot of data files and everything, having that extra firewall security thing that is definitely having, because Serato is now a 64-bit program, they have to basically run through the whole system and make sure that it's not a virus or whatnot. So from what I've heard is that it does take a little bit longer for the security measure in Windows 10 for programs to read certain files. So I've heard a few. I haven't encountered it yet, but I've heard some people say that they've had issues with it sounds like it's corrupted, but I think it's Windows problem that they decided to do that. And I've encountered it sometimes with different versions of the Mac OS as well. I think when not Lion, but Yosemite,
Yep,
there's
Yosemite
some
was
OS
one.
versions that were doing the same thing. And with it being a new update, it's definitely going to be frustration for a lot of DJs out there, because they expect for it to work out of the box. And hey, it's not the software, it's not it's not Serato, it's not your hardware, it's definitely your OS that's definitely messing with the whole system, how it works and how it should work.
Supafly, what operating system are you using on your Mac?
The latest one, Mac OS.
So you're doing High Sierra?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely the newer one.
Did
the
you have to
newest
do?
one, I try to, when I do the whole updates and the whole testing of the new Serato, whatever beta they have out, I try to use it with the newest OS just to make sure that it works. And there's times I do have a backup laptop as well, so I use like the old version just to make sure I can just switch over with the mixer. That's why I like these mixers, is because you can use two laptops. You can have one connected with the old one, and then if one is failing, you can just switch over and you're good to go.
Have you had any problems or run into with High Sierra where you needed to do a firmware update? Because I've heard a couple of people who have we experienced that with ours, which we're using a different program, but it had a couple of people that were having issues, and they did some sort of a firmware update on the controllers, and it was the same issue because of High Sierra not communicating properly with the gear.
Yes. When the whole update was released with Serato DJ, the new 2.0, I had to do the same thing. I had to basically just delete the old files that I had, the whole system under the media application, just basically delete anything that was old, because again, that was a 32-bit program. And if you were to update it, it would kind of just corrupt the file, and the Mac, it would just confuse the Mac. The best thing to do is just delete all the old files that was being used and update the new, install it. Make sure you restart it as well. Don't just think that you can just plug it in, plug in the controller thinking that it's going to work. No, a lot of the times the manufacturers for your controller, your mixers, they also release new updates just to make sure that everything works smoothly with your operating system. So when you hear something about make sure to delete the newest firmware and whatnot, you also got to think that not just in Serato the program, but also the hardware, the manufacturer as well, they provide the testing and whatnot to make sure that everything's going to work seamlessly with all together, because you want to make sure that your system works 100% when you're at a gig, because who knows what happens when you're in a gig and you haven't really tested it all. So
did you find any problems? Because I know you have the 72, and you were doing firmware updates to it at the same time. There was updates going on with others. Did you find that one was fixing and then another one was unfixing? Anything like that? Or is it just finally they were getting their balls in the same little basket?
No, I mean, I was following the procedure of like I've done it for so many years, is I always make sure to delete the old files. That's the proper, I guess. It's always worked for me, where I always make sure to any previous installation of Serato DJ or anything that's in my system that I know is going to corrupt it or do something to my system, I always make sure to delete it, reboot the system, and then install the new one, and then let it go through the process of doing it a fresh install. So that's basically what I think is better to do, is because then you don't have any problems.
Right.
That would make you.
Go ahead, John.
That would make you like like within the 5% of people in the world who do the software like that. Most don't.
I'm actually the person that reads the manual. I actually do sit down and read the manual, because I found it that why go through the whole stress of of figuring out what's wrong. When you just sit down, read the manual, follow instructions, and then
Some of the questions that I see on both the Serato and the virtual boards, it's like, did you not read anything? How do I put my license key in? What the freak? You shouldn't be a DJ.
Yeah. I mean, that's what instructions are for, If you don't know how to read, go back to school or something.
I mean, I understand DJing doesn't take a whole lot, but try at least. Also, I'd heard some stuff about Serato and MP4s.
MP4s?
Having MP4s and something else, another video file it was having trouble with before the 2.0.2 update.
I have not heard any issues with that.
That's good.
I don't use Serato Video. I use Mix Emergency for video.
Mm-hmm.
I own both, but I just find it more useful to use Mix Emergency, just because of the processing. Everything is much more smoother when I use Mix Emergency from the updates that they do to their video engine. Again, Mix Emergency was another company that started out the video process, with Serato. So when Serato came out with, being able to read audio from videos, it couldn't show videos. So Inkland came up with the whole idea of, all right, let's see if we can make something work. And they decided to build a program called Mix Emergency that was able to play the videos. So because they were the first ones to do that, they were able to go through the process of figuring out which video files work best and what computers. But it's only a Mac app, so it only works with Macintosh, and because it provides so many useful features that it's very insane. It's
a lot more features than the stock Serato video.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, cool. All right, so questions in the chat room. Feel free to throw them out.
Yeah, I've got Ronald. I want to ask a clarifying question, but Ronald was talking that he lost the right side of the mixer using 1.94. Could hear it in the headphones, but the crossfader, when he went to the right side, there was no sound. So if he's having a problem...
And he lost like half a mixer. I mean, that's... you're having a bad gig when you literally lose half your mix. No.
Yeah.
And there issues of side loss? I mean...
From what I don't think it's necessarily a software issue. Again, it could be a hardware issue. If you're losing sound, if you can hear sound from one side, you should definitely be hearing it on the other side. Software is going to throw music out through one single cable, and it should all come out how it should. But from what it sounds like to me, he was having issues with the mixer itself. So it could be that he might need to reset it. He might have to basically just update the firmware, like I mentioned earlier, because those are some of the problems that I see people having, is if they don't hear, or maybe it's not reading their turntable, or it's not reading a certain channel, is because the firmware is not working correctly with the computer. So
and it could be
definitely sounds like a firmware,
and it could be something in the mixer too. It could be that the output to the channel could have gotten messed up. But an interesting thing with the firmware update, as you mentioned there, Supafly, is that if you don't have the firmware update, it could work for a few minutes perfectly, and then it could mess up. I mean, in my particular situation, it worked for about 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes sometimes, and then it would start to show problems. So it could be functioning, and if it's a firmware, those are so difficult to be able to pinpoint because they look like 17 different things.
Yeah, and it
could be a button, John, that you forgot to press. Like,
no, you be quiet now. We're not talking.
You're far from the only person, I just want to let you know, that sends me a message, this isn't working, and I say, is this button in the right spot? Thank you.
Oh. Did you turn it off?
It could be the smallest thing. Yes, it definitely could be the smallest things. And a lot of people stress out about it, that, this mixer doesn't work or whatever. I mean, it could be the really smallest things, just by turning a button, or sometimes the RCA plugins that you plug in through the back, the inputs, sometimes they break off. So people don't notice that they're not looking at their cables correctly. So
cables there.
You have to make sure. Yeah, you have to make sure you look at your cables, because it could be a cable problem.
I know somebody had problems. They tried everything, and I said, "Did you try replacing the USB cord?" Thank you.
Yeah, and it worked. Yeah,
that's a big one too.
Gregory
that definitely is a big one.
Gregory has a question here. Bought Serato Pro over the weekend and was wondering about Serato Video to play karaoke files.
I think Serato, they do play karaoke, and that, because I know they ran a sale this past week, half off, but it's only Serato DJ Pro, and I think the video is separate from what I remember.
I have it open over here. I'll see. So for $49.50 limited time only, you can get Serato Pro, and it does not come with
any video capabilities.
Serato Pro,
the video plugin.
FX sync, 8 cue points, which you have 4 on the other, 32, and no, wait. Serato Video, Serato Flip, Pitch and Time, FX expansion pack, and Serato Remote. Does it come with all that? No, those are all expansion packs. Those are add-ons. So no, it doesn't come with any of that. No, probably video, or no, it wouldn't even come with video, would it?
No, It doesn't come with it.
Yeah, so that's an extra, an upgrade.
And a plug-in, like you'd say. So I mean, just like the pitch in time or anything like that. So the Mix Emergency, again, it's another plug-in that works with Serato. So it's
what the cost is on Mix Emergency.
I think $100 or no, 200. Yeah.
Do a look here while we're chatting.
$200 to upgrade. It costs like every year $100 for me. So I've been upgraded ever since. So it's $100 every time they upgrade.
Also, you have to every
new update, which is every 2 or 3 years, maybe. They've been out for quite a while. So
$199.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a very powerful program. Definitely a good program to use for video and Serato if you wanted to plan to go in that direction. But again, it only works with Macs. So
yes, I believe you do have to buy the video pack. I can go back to Serato and look again here.
Yep. They someone in Facebook on the Facebook chat does that, and they said yes, you indeed have to have Pro and the video capability. Ronald,
I thought that unless sometimes they do combo packs that you get stuff. I know when I bought the 7000, it came with add-on packs. Like if you buy a certain mixer or a certain controller, that will come with add-ons. Because I think it came with pitch and time, video, flip, and something else it came with. So sometimes that way, but most of it is add-on. Or you can do Serato. It does do now not just a flat-out buy, but you can do the subscription service. And you just pay a subscription service every month, and no matter how many updates they do or changes, you get all of those with that subscription.
Yep.
So that's option 2.
Yep. That's a good way to try it out if you want to test it before buying the plugin or
you may buy something and go, I don't even need this.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends. Some people don't want to spend that amount of money, but to try it out and to see if you actually like it. I mean, even the light version it's free, and just to get you to try it out. Test it. Now that they have the internal mode to be able to mix that way, you can definitely try it. And then if you do like it, and if you want to buy a controller that's going to work with it, then go ahead and buy the Pro. Again, if you don't want to buy the whole Pro version, you can just test it. I think it's $10 a month to get all these plugins, to get the video plug-in and whatnot, and just try it out and see how you like it.
Let's see here, expansion. See if they give pricing on it, because I don't even remember half what it is. Some of them, do they do the monthly? Where's the monthly at? I could be showing this probably instead of just chatting. Here, they have a picture that's in blue.
We love pictures, especially in blue. Ronald was sharing some more things with it, that he's having the same problems with a couple of other mixers, the 707 and 909. I'm not familiar with those mixers and such. But
those are not necessarily Serato mixers. The 707 Pioneer 707.
Are those USB? Those are USB connected mixers, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're USB connected. So
I'm wondering now if he must have some kind of a software conflict on the machine itself that it's not sending that information out properly. I wonder if it's going to take a whole redoing of the hard drive. If it'd be a Macintosh, I'd tell you to do disk utilities, zap the PRAM. If that's still, then you could reset the power management. And if those 3 things didn't work, you have to reinstall the iOS and do a clean install. If that was Mac. On a PC, I think they just tell you to go throw it in the the Goodwill box and buy a new one.
I wasn't even paying attention to the issue because I was looking at something else. But.
I thought that's why they were so cheap, is that they're kind of disposable. Oh, wait.
No. Here's the thing, and I will say this again because I'm a Windows user. If you're going to use Windows, you have to spend at least as much as the cheapest Mac to get a good computer. You spend $500 on anything, you're going to get what you pay for. And that's all I need to say about that. So now with that said, here's the pricing. For the Serato Pro, $9.99 a month, or $49, which is on sale right now. You're regularly $99, and you can do the Suite, which gets you all of these expansion packs, which that's $14.99 a month, or the $2.99 for everything. So those are your options with that.
There you go.
Excellent.
$20 to try it out and see you like it.
You do $14.99, try everything out, and decide what you want or don't want, and then go from there.
And then talking about the virtual DJ users that, they just want to stick to, I mean, I understand. And then we talked about this earlier, with how Jazzy Jeff had mentioned this and, in the Red Bull 3 style, interview is that it don't matter, as long as you know how to rock a party, that's all. Hey, some people ask me, why don't you go with virtual DJ or whatnot? I'm like, I'm so already used to being with Serato. I'm so invested in learning it and, and being trust of it that I know it's going to not fail me at a gig just because I've used it for so long. And with my computers and at home and everything, that it's something that I trust that it's going to work for me. And if virtual DJ works for you and you trust it enough that you're going to go to your gig and you're going to play, a full 4 or 5 hour set, you're going to basically just, as long as you rock the party, that's all that matters. So
I know guys, because you have the guys in the world who just use Serato or just use virtual or just use Tractor. But I know a lot of guys nowadays that are using Serato for one type of gig, then they'll use virtual for maybe another type of gig, karaoke or something. And then if they want something to just run playlists, they'll run like algorithm or something. So in their computer, they have all of them depending on what they're using that day.
Yeah. Again, it just depends on the situation. It could be a ceremony. You don't necessarily have to bring a whole, setup of, trying to use Serato virtual DJ. You just use something very simple. Your iPad. I use my iPad sometimes, and that works for me. So, have
you ever used any of the external sound things for Serato that you would, like because I know that the 12 and the 72, I mean, not the 12, but the 72 and the 62 all have a lot of effects on them. But Serato also has that external thing that you can run off like an iPad and do the effects that way. Have you ever used them? I have a friend who loves it, but I don't know if you've ever used them.
The controller, you mean? The little app or whatnot? I mean, I've tried it, but it's more, I'm more of I like the knobs.
Yeah.
I don't like, touching the screen and whatnot, because I just feel like I'm going to touch the wrong button. I like more of the knobs.
What it is, it's kind of like what he has on his mixer or a controller, but if you don't have that and you still want like some sort of effect, they make this add-on. It's an app that you throw onto your Apple tablet and then plug your tablet into your computer, and you can set the tablet over here and have all these effects on there that you don't have maybe on your mixer.
Yeah.
So
and it works with Wi-Fi, so you have to be in the same Wi-Fi network or bring your own router. That's the only difficult part about it, is that you have to create a network to be able to work with it. If you want to use it at a gig, but if you're at home, it's going to work perfect if you already have a router set there. So,
okay, guys, I got a couple of questions. The first one, JP puts info in the comments section, and then when he reopens Serato, that information doesn't appear until the track is loaded and actually has the fader up. And when playing the audio, then the information shows up.
What, I wonder, is he using a Windows?
No, my question is what version?
JP, if you can put that in the chat on Facebook, and we can bounce back to that. So let's find out which computer type of computer, and if you're using the latest version, make sure to put that in there for us. Okay, so let's jump back over to the other. Is best way to get rid of duplicates without going one by one, going through them one by one in Serato. Is there an easy way to deal with duplicates?
Yes.
There is quite a few apps out there, but it's not the ones that are going to be running through Serato. It's third-party apps that are going to be reading files. If the file has the same file name type, that's the hardest part about doing this, where you want to manage your library. It's a little bit different than virtual DJ. Serato's library is way different. Anytime you load something into Serato, it's going to basically, stay in Serato, and it's never going to leave. And there's no plugins or certain things that you can run through it to try to, do this whole duplicate thing. The way you can only do it is if you manually delete it yourself in Serato, or if you buy a third party, like I can't remember. There's quite a few. If you actually look at it, there's a lot of apps.
I have a couple that I'm fond of. Media Monkey is one. There's some new ones out there called Similarity, I think, and they're really getting very, that's what I'm looking for, technical, to where they not only look at the name of the file, because that's what a lot of the older ones would only look at the name, but they'll also compare it and say this one's actually 20 seconds longer or something like that, and it will let you get a choice of what you do. But you are going to have to go outside of the program completely. and go through your library on a program like MediaMonkey, or one of them, that will let you scan for doubles. And there's other ones out there better. I'm not just saying use MediaMonkey, but use Google and find the programs. And because I've used them before, and just have it go through everything you have, but make sure. Here's the key thing. Make sure it doesn't automatically delete one of them. Gives you the choice, because you may look at it and go, no, I wanted that version, not this one. Or I want the video version. It deleted the video version. So you might want both. But doubles are really, with how easy it is to get files, everybody has doubles. Everybody has doubles. So
more than one, it seems like.
Yeah.
More than one, for
so
sure.
That's what I say. Just basically go do a Google search for programs to find double songs. And also, you also have to think about if you have multiple types of files, whether you have video or audio. Some of the programs only work searching audio files and not video files, and they may only do certain types of audio files. So it might do MP3s, but not like lossless files or something. So kind of figure out what you need. Find a good one. Maybe we can do a show in the future on that. But you're not. Yeah. As far as I know, there isn't a DJ software out there that would do that. That would be a cool plug-in that I'm sure many DJs would pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
So I know, there you go.
Scratch Live did have one, but it being a really old software, they kind of just got rid of it. So it doesn't really work. Legacy product. So.
All right, let's jump back to JP's with the comments. Putting info in the comment section, and it disappears basically until the song is actually in the deck and being played. JP's running on a MacBook Pro. He's got version software 1.9.10, and he's on a Denon MCX 8000.
Upgraded 2.0.
Actually, that's what we're going to talk about here in a bit. Currently, 2.0.2 is the current version, up-to-date current version, and they are doing a press release tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. UTC. What is that for us? UTC is...
What is UTC?
Or is that us? What is... Yeah.
No.
10:30 a.m. UTC. So that's 5 hours?
Yeah, it's 5 hours ahead of us. 5 hours ahead of
me.
You, 6 hours ahead of me.
Yeah. So it'd be 6 a.m. for me, 7 a.m. for you, or whatever. You're an hour behind? Yeah.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Yeah.
So anyways, they are releasing a Serato 2.0.3, and they are also talking about not only software, but hardware. And I want to speculate. You've already said, Supafly, what you think the hardware is.
I think there's a new zone mixer that's coming out. I'm not sure. That's when it comes to hardware releases, it's a little bit tricky to know what Serato's going to do with the whole new. Sometimes they'll skip beta from having people to test beta. They'll only pick like the handful of people to test certain mixers and whatnot. So that way, no leaks or nothing happens. And it just depends on their NDAs and, who signs what and make sure that, none of their stuff leaks. So I think it could be a new mixer. I think it's the Zone. I'm not quite sure. And it could be new plugins that might be coming out with the whole, switching the whole 2.0 running as a 64-bit app. Now they can actually do the whole, expanded version of, lots of things with, running Mac and running Windows things. So we'll see.
That'd be a whole new world for every part of Serato, like all plugins, all everything that ties in with that, people are sitting like, we're going to rewrite everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what they had to do with this 2.0, rewrite everything. So once they figure that out, I'm pretty sure they got the whole file structure of how they're going to set things for the future. So we'll just see.
That's cool. It's neat. It was needed. It was well overdue.
Yeah, definitely. We got any more questions?
Not right now. They're just
Wait. Reggie tried auto mix in Serato. Does Serato have an auto mix?
It doesn't have an auto mix.
I don't. Where's? That's what I'm saying. Where's the auto mix in Serato? Yeah. If it's there, please let us. I don't even know.
There's an auto play, but that just means that when the song is done, like completely all the way to the end of the waveform, is going to switch over to the next one. But it's not going to mix for you.
That must have been what he's referring to as the auto play.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, because I was saying there's no auto mix with that.
Yeah. It's not like virtual DJ.
It would be called continuous play, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. All right, so I was going to say, how did we miss that?
It's funny.
That's I was talking. I did a video last week online about DJs using streaming services, and for a while, Serato had access to what was the one they had?
Pulse Locker,
and it went away. And I do believe, because of the way iTunes is changing their thing up, one part of it they say is a rumor, one part of it said it's not a rumor, that they're not going to do or limit the amount of downloadable content. It's all going to be streaming content. And I really think that it's going to be a normal part of DJs' lives. And my first thought was that Serato is going to tie itself into iTunes streamable. And would that not be a good marriage thing there that have as a backup or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, they've worked with Serato's library has always worked with iTunes, so I mean, it would be a perfect partnership for both to continue the services, because I know right now it's a subscription based, right, for Apple.
Yep, you can do that. Yep, Apple Music.
Subscribe to their music, and with the whole Facebook having the whole new music copyright and everything like that, I don't know, it could be the whole new production of companies, how everything's working. So if they work together, they can probably figure some out to make it work. So yeah.
I can tell you, with using Virtual and Deezer, like I said, I will say this every single time. I'm a firm believer that DJs should curate their own library. Okay, when I remember when Virtual dropped Virtual dropped Spotify. And how many people complained, well, I lost all my playlists. What am I supposed to do? I'm thinking, what the freak? No, it's there for a backup, or to get that song that I'll play that one, and it's not in here or something. But
it's more like a live request. You're at a gig and someone requests a song. You're like, oh, well, let me look it up here. I could probably have it on the computer, download it from whatever service you're using. So
so that was the thing with using Deezer with Virtual, is that I never have to leave the program. And like I said, I'm going to preempt that with, I believe you should be downloading and creating a library, but in an emergency sake or a push, that's really convenient to grab a song and never have to leave the program. And with, like you said, the way that a lot of people put together, because again, Serato's library setup is a lot different than the way the other ones run, and a lot of people do rely on creating their little playlists and stuff through iTunes. Would that not be the perfect marriage for them to tie into that, where you would, again, probably, because they're going to get you on everything, pay for your iTunes subscription, and maybe a little bit more for the pro level, so. Because there is a difference between how is it, John? Performance and entertainment. The copyright laws are different. Is that right?
For private and public, is really
not private and public. There's one, because again, I did a video for, if you ever want to know anything, just go look through Disc Jockey News' videos. We've all done videos on something, but there was a club that got busted to where they were paying the rights to have the song DJ'd or in the jukebox, but they had a band come in and cover a song and didn't have the copyright to cover the performance side.
Wow.
Oh, and that's where the two are different, and that's why I think that Spotify got bumped out, because there's a difference for a DJ playing a song and someone else playing it.
And because there's two, ASCAP and BMI are the two main ones that we pay in, and there's that third one, and that third company, I think, is the one you're referring to, that caught them. SE. Yeah, I don't remember who they were, but that third one, I believe.
That's the thing where I think if they get it ironed out, that we may have to pay extra, but we would have that ability, because they are trying to consider us as performance, not entertainment, which there's a difference there. They want to consider us the same as someone singing the song on stage, having to pay the rights for it, as opposed to playing it, as the original version. They want us to have to cover a song legally the same way someone would sing it on stage. Have to pay for the rights to sing that, as opposed to just playing it 20 times a night, playing Despacito 20 times a night. I got people the other night because I have a salsa version of that, and they're like, "Oh, can you play that?" I'm like, "I already played that." And come on, play it again. I'm like, "All right, I got one for you." And
play a different version of it.
They didn't know what to do, and then they're like, "Okay,"
They knew the lyrics, they just didn't know.
Yeah, because it's different. The beat and the cadence of it breaks down a little different, and there's no Justin Bieber.
I think a lot of people prefer the one without Justin.
Yeah, they didn't even know there was the other one. What do you mean? There's not the original one? Yes, just like a finesse the original Finesse had Cardi B in it. Yes, she was always in the song.
Yes.
Please. More questions. We still got time. He is here for you. DJ Supafly is joining us all the way from the great state of Minnesota. Is that right?
Yep. Minnesota. Same state as
name is John. I'm the odd man out, as usual. So throw the questions at him while he's here. He's here for this week alone.
I mean, there could be some things we can figure out. I know, like we mentioned, is having the right computer for it. You know, a lot of the newer computers that are coming out is to having the right processor, the right amount of RAM for it to run. With the whole new Serato update that just came out, the 2.0 version is it's got the whole updated scaling for the Retina screens, so it actually looks much more clearer, much more sharper. The waveforms, you know, I haven't really used Virtual DJ lately. I haven't encountered, you know, what the new skins or what like, but one of the things that I've always liked about Serato is the whole waveforms, how they're set. One of the things that when I mix, I don't look at the waveforms. There's another little kind of like a mixing bar in the middle, letting you know if if your two songs are actually on the right BPM level. And I can probably even show you that on the screen, just because I don't know if people know.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know if there's people that in Virtual DJ, I don't know. Do you guys that use it? Do you have like
show us what you're talking about, and then I'll be able to say that no, it's not. Sure. But because you know, from my advanced knowledge of all software, I'll be able to tell.
There we go.
I'm gonna hold you to that, John.
All right, you guys see it there? Let me just load it. I don't know if so. In the middle part of it,
in the center of the two waves, for those of you who don't know, right there. Yep.
Those two. I'm gonna turn my body down because it's gonna be very. Those two basically. Let me just play this. Oh, I'm running the I have it connected to the mixers. I have to run internal. Sorry. So you kind of see in the middle there. I don't know. Does mice? Yeah, it shows my mouse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That when I want to adjust the BPM, you kind of see how it expands, right? So that's how I use it for when I mix. Is when I never look at the BPM. I always look towards getting that in the middle part adjusted correctly. I don't go through the big beat grids. I don't do any of the whole. Sometimes there are songs that are not like analyzed right. I don't know if I say that right. Analyzed right.
Yep.
And like a lot of the Spanish music that I play, it's not necessarily always that way. But let me just stop it here because I don't want it to be jumping. But these two bars that are right here, as y'all can see, you know, they're kind of matching up. Or sometimes it could be a little nudge here and there that you can push it to match it. But that's the one that I'm always looking at. I'm not looking at the waveforms. Never look at the waveforms. I always look at this. There's also a lot of the times when I use acapellas. Acapellas sometimes have this, and then the beat, of course, and it helps you to match the acapella when you're doing mashups, live mashups and whatnot. So this is actually for me a big. What I love about Serato is this, and one of the cool features that another thing that I like about Serato is you can have the every time you change a button, like in the filter when you add like more bass or something like that, you can kind of see the waveform. It turns colors.
We talked about that last week a little bit. Someone asked me about that. Yeah, there you go. That's a good. So those of you, that's what it looks like. So the darker colors usually represent the lower tones, and if you take them out, the waveform actually gives you a proper colored representation of what it would be with the bass out.
Yeah, so you see there, and it's a perfect visualization for me that I know that when I'm mixing, I cut off the bass. I'm like, oh, I can go back, and if I'm just looking at the computer screen, like, oh, I gotta turn the bass back up.
Mm-hmm.
And again, using the middle part of it, so to be able to do that, when I load a new song, you kind of see this. When I'm playing, it's pretty cool once you get it. When you have it playing in front of you, because I know. With the whole right now, you can't really see it perfectly because of the streaming capabilities. But if you play with it, go ahead and activate that. That's in part of in the preferences. I think that's the show tempo matching display. It's under the settings. So if people who are new out there that using Serato, that's a perfect thing for you guys to learn how to use, because it's going to definitely help you with how to get the beats correct. perfectly match for when you're mixing live. So yeah, let me stop the share. So there you go. Does Virtual DJ have that? I don't know.
Yeah, it has. Hold on here. I can't spell. It has cross. I don't know. It doesn't have the third one. It has a cross, and then it has what's called a scratch, and it's a little bit different. I can share here. All right, so in here, this is virtual.
That's the skin for it.
It's missing one thing.
Sorry, I had to go there. Or if you want the 1.9 version, there's the 1.9 version.
Gotcha.
But no, we'll have to go with the default. You have a couple different options where you have these little dots here that mark as your downbeat. So I'm going to do this in, oops, wrong one here. You can do your horizontals, or you can do the lines that match up that way. And then there's also a scratch waveform that runs this way too. So if you choose and add them, take them on or off, whatever you want. But yeah, sorry, I hear that skin.
No, and that's, I think I use that like a lot. I mean, I always have to make sure I have that turned on, especially when I'm using turntables, just nudging it just to get it on the right, matching it on the right beat.
For you, do you feel that it's easier using that center beat, as opposed to the actual the actual waveforms themselves? Because I'm one that looks at the waveform, not those dots. Because that's where people always, remember we were talking about before the show, where people come up and go, well, your downbeat markers aren't right. And I'm like, well, I don't need it to be, because number one, I hear it. Number two, I can see it. I don't, well, how do you, it's called mixing. So do you find that you've always, because obviously they weren't always there. Is this something that you've kind of put on as that they become a tool as Serato grew, and you're like, this is a good thing?
Nope, that's actually one of the things that was included in Scratch Live.
So it's Scratch Live, nice.
It's been a feature since Scratch Live. So I've always used it. Like I said, it works like for me. My visual representation, when I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking at that. I'm not looking at the waveforms. That's for me. It's an easier way. And you can kind of see, I like the expanded version of Serato. So you can see more of the waveforms, and you can see more of that tempo matching display. You can definitely, tell that when you move the pitch up or down, it's going to expand it, it's going to close it, and it's going to match the beat markers how you want it. So that's why I like it.
Question.
Chat, you got it, John? Good.
Yep. What's the fastest way to analyze your files quicker than traditional? Because as we do now, it takes
I know the answer to this. Better processor, right?
Yeah. You probably need a better computer. Serato, when it does the whole analyzing of the whole thing, of how many songs that you add, it depends. It could be today you can add 50 songs. Tomorrow, every time you add music, make sure you analyze it, so that way, when by the end of the week, if you decide to do it by then, it's going to analyze all your files, and it's going to take forever. But it depends on your processor. I know I've seen some. I think the MacBook Airs. I had a friend of mine that has a MacBook Air. It would only analyze 4 songs at a time.
Okay.
It's probably runs it the way Windows does, that if it's a quad core or octa core, it's only going to go as many as you have.
Yes. And it being a 64-bit program, right now it reads up to like 8 or 10, I think, files. So, I don't know. That could be a whole new thing with Serato when they update. It's going to be able to analyze even more songs to make it faster. So, again, it depends on your computer and what processor you're using. So,
right. You want to take the next question, John? Because I'm not sure what he's really asking here. I'll read it, and perhaps you can, Supafly, if you can decipher this. On Serato, do you always show the sample to get the different ABCD layers, or is there a shortcut to switch sample banks?
So I know this is one of the features that a lot of like live DJs that use the drumming techniques, sometimes I'll point it down towards here. So this is the 72. There's, people assign different things to it, with the sampler. With me, it's easier, and that's why I like this mixer, is because there's a dedicated sampler button right there. And that allows me just to hit it, and whatever samplers I have, it's going to play. And with me, it's just switching to the banks that you want to say bank A, you want to move to the next bank. You basically just move to the next page. So it's easier to do it with mixers that are like this. I know the S9 does it as well. And it's just a matter of fact of sometimes even meeting a button to change those layers. Because let's say this is bank A, right? And then you switch over to the bank B. So it just depends on how you set it up on your program. But he did say, if there's an easier way, I mean, that's probably the only way that I can think of is if you media file, or it depends on the controllers. If you're using, everybody's using the DDJX or as whatever the DDJ Pioneer controller everybody's using.
DDJ dash.
Yeah. You can do the same thing. You can media it. I know they have a dedicated sampler option that when you do it, you can media it to switch banks. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. I don't know if it's because I know each sampler has eight functions to it. So it doesn't allow more than that. So every bank has 8 is what I'm trying
A few weeks ago, we had DJ Cadillac on, who is actually, you met him that one night we did live thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went over basically DVS. He talked the whole way through DVS, and one of the things that he talked about was the different mixers that have the ability like that. And everybody was like, "Well, I can't believe you'd pay that much for just a mixer." And that's the thing, that it's not just a mixer. It has, like, the person there was looking for a shortcut to the different banks, and right there's simple buttons that are designed from the moment you plug it in for that. That's what you're paying for, not just 4 channels.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's when you spend much money, when I spend like a lot of money on a mixer, I not only just look at what features it does, but also the support for the manufacturer, warranty and whatnot. It could be for everything, it could be for speakers or whatever it is. And that's how I've always been. But when I always look at the mixers that I want to buy, I always make sure that, what if something breaks, I want to make sure that I'm covered for it. So that's why I spend the extra money going, buying the newest gear. That's probably the coolest. So.
Supafly, talk about the skin on your mixer there. Got a question about that.
Because those of you who follow him, this is a good one to go with. You like daily put out different designs, trying to get everyone's opinion, didn't you?
Yeah. And I always do that. I did that for my last 2 mixers. And I just kind of, get people's opinions to see what looks better, but I'm gonna try to take the skin off and show it a little bit better. But I designed the skin. It took me like a week because there's all these lines on here, and it's all over through the mixer. It's got front and back, and it's also got logos in there. It's got the DJ City, the Rain logo, and the 12-inch skin logo in there. It's kind of like ribbon type of how it looks like, but if I can get this button off, I can't get it off right now. But
it's okay.
It's pretty cool. I don't know, y'all can see there. It's magnetic, as y'all can see.
Oh,
that's
nice.
why I like using the. It's not like a sticker where you're gonna stick it on and when it's time to take it off, you're gonna leave residue on there. I like to when a new mixer comes out, I always like to resell them. So I always try to take good care of them by buying skin.
Yeah, it covers it up well.
And just basically keep it brand new. For when you set it, you're going to set it for top price.
That's through 12-inch skins. That's the one you got that, correct?
Yep, 12-inch skins. Jared over there, he's a pretty cool guy. He'll hook you up, so just get a hold of him.
There's quite a few different ones out there. There's one, I can't think of it's Decal Lady, I think, does them both for computers and certain DJ devices. Someone in there mentioned go to a local sign shop, which mine was done by a local sign shop because mine's a little different. But to do the kind like he has, you'd have to find a sign shop that does printing, because that's not like a vinyl cutout. That's a print on there, in detail. But for the price of doing, like I said, going through 12-inch skins, because they do this for everybody, they already have the template. Yeah. And it's what, about $70 or less?
Yeah. About $80 and
$70-$80 and you have everything, all the slices and the markings all done right.
Yep. So and I want to go back to that question that they asked about the different sample banks. When you MIDI something, you got to have like a mentality of how it's going to work. You could be pressing the wrong button. What I did with this skin is I customized certain things for certain layers. So even on this mixture, I have internal mode. I can mix internally with this, and there's certain buttons that only allow me to do things. So I added the labels on here, the little play button, Q. Yes, I do have sync on here, but I don't use it. I just have it as a show so that I don't accidentally hit it. Because if I accidentally hit it in a live show, it's not gonna work. So I do have it just for a purpose of that's how the layer is set up. So I don't want to hit it by accident. So I labeled it, and then I have the internal relative mode and the notch, the up and down, minus, plus buttons up here. So that's what I did this skin for, is to have a visual representation of how I want it to work internally. So yeah.
There was another question there. I actually had to ask you this one a while back. Someone was asking about, will Serato ever do internal without having to go external with VSTs? Because now you have to tie the VSTs through like Ableton or something for Serato. Like virtual, you can put them directly in. And do you think Serato will? The funny thing is because they're going the other way. They're making stuff to be used on the dials, on the different sort of things like that. Do you think it'll go the other way and let they're with now that they're 64-bit, let VST?
Yeah, that was the whole plan from what I've heard in the beginning with the whole 64-bit of turning everything over to 64-bit, was that they want to be able to do things like that. They want to be able to use third party. Like I know Ableton is a big back then when they used to have an app called The Bridge. It was perfect because all the any of the loops or anything you had in Ableton, they would work perfectly with Serato. You just had to go in Serato, and it was a perfect mixtape, they call it, because you were able to create mixtapes on the fly. You're able to get acapellas to sync correctly. You just be able to hit play button on this deck on 8. You can have like a lot of channels lined up in Serato because Ableton had already, whatever you had worked in Ableton was already set up the way you wanted to. So that was considered a VST, and that was even before 64-bit came out. Yeah. So I think they're actually looking into possibly doing that.
Definitely will open things up, that's for sure.
Yeah. I also got the records from 12-inch skins, so I got them customized for that as well.
You can customize anything now, to the point of even I can't think of, is it 12? Who does the print your logo on the crossfader cap?
12-inch skins does as well.
12-inch, I thought so. So like you can even custom down as far as the cap on your crossfader can be customized with your logo.
Wow.
But again, this is all part of, this whole show is about mixing and being the mix DJ that, for someone doing like a wedding or something, for the most part, you're probably not going to want to draw too much attention to yourself. Most guys like to just, kind of keep it simple. But as the mix DJ, this is forefront as a guitar is to a guitarist in a band. You want your thing to look good.
Yeah.
And that's why we do all that kind of stuff. I don't go quite as far, and I joke about this all the time. I don't go as far as everybody else when it comes to customizing, because I know I always end up getting a new controller about every 2 years. So that's usually my turnaround, and I'm about there. I'm waiting till fall, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to be switching again. So, but if you are a person, like I said, that does what he does, what Supafly does, and you're in front of audiences, and your skill is that thing, like I said, like a guitarist in a band, this is all part of being the mix DJ. And if you want to be this is all the things that you have to step up to.
Yep. It's called the Murphy's Law. So every 2 years, something new is going to come out.
Yeah. That's well, for you get more, and that's one of the things that I was talking about with Cadillac, with the different, the rain mixers and whatnot in the Pioneer, is that you guys get a lot more years out of them than someone would with a controller, at least for the most part. Like for me, every 2 years, you'll probably get 4 years out of that. I'm guessing probably.
Yeah, it's over the long run too, and that's why I invest in certain mixers, because I know they're going to last quite a long time. So. Sure. I've had the rain mixers that I still use. I still have the 62 and the 57, and they're my backup mixers in case I need to use them. And I haven't used them, ever since I got this new one. But they're there, and they still work. They've worked with Scratch Live, and there's some that work with Virtual DJ if I wanted to. But they work pretty well. It's going back to the whole firmware thing. If you wanted to use it with Virtual DJ, then you'd have to update your computer to a different version of firmware. So, yeah.
Not always, because when I was with Cadillac, I said, "Can I plug my virtual into your S9 and see what it does?" And like that, we had.
Yeah, but you're mixing up things that it might end up crashing.
Of course, you're going to trust me. I don't do any updates, hardware, firmware, software, if my pointer on my mouse gets an update, it gets tested before I go out into a gig.
That's funny. And
You have to. It's like a race car. You're not going to just put a new engine in a race car and just go, let's hit the track. You're going to test it.
Yeah. And it's technology always changes. Again, with virtual DJ, they could probably drop something new tomorrow, even with Serato. You don't know, most of these companies they're battling each other to see, who's the best. And, they're all just thinking of the end user, which is us. We're the DJs. We're the ones that are going to be paying for their software, and if we like it, we're just gonna stick with them or whoever it is. But if you like what you like, go for it. And there's no necessarily thing keeping you from saying, oh, you have to make the switch to Serato. Just because your friend is saying, hey, Serato's better than virtual DJ doesn't mean that you have to switch. If you like it, if that's your style, go for it.
Or like the other guys who use all three depending on what they're doing. I'm not kidding you. I have friends that I've walked up to in places using DJ algorithms DJ, and I'm like, I just for this gig. But the next one it's Serato, and it's like, hey, whatever, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Whatever you like, you can use both if you want, if it works and if you like it, go for it.
Keep in mind, and I am addressing this to a specific person in the chat because him and I talk all the time. A slam mix is not a slam mix, is a slam mix, because there's a slam mix that is done right and there's a slam mix that's not done right. So that's not mixing. Some slam mixes aren't mixing. They're just poor choices. Poor execution is what it is. But this, like I said, this show is about the mixed DJ, and we're going to expand it further and keep going on with that. So, if you want to learn how to do this, like I said, I do classes. Supafly's there to answer questions about stuff. I'm sure you get a lot of people asking you. He's very, very knowledgeable. That's why I brought him on the show. He is kind of busy because he's a new father. But I'm sure he'll be able to hit you back in an hour or two when feeding time or sleep time is up something. So I really, really, really appreciate having you on, dude. You're just a wealth of knowledge. You're bringing stuff that's like, man, I never even thought of that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The whole part of it, with the community being a DJ, it's helping others. That's the other thing is I always remain humble in this business because you don't know who you're going to meet. And that's what I've, encountered too with the whole. That's something hard to teach, if you're going to be running lots of gigs, it's important to be humble. It's important to be, respectful towards, your clients and whoever it is, and to other DJs, especially, because we're all in this together. When new software comes out, if you have a friend that's got Serato and you don't know how to use it, who are you going to go to? You know what I'm saying? Or it's about keeping it as a community and keeping it going as, how what we love to do, which is DJing. So, it's going to change. Technology is going to change, but as long as you, keep your mindset, open all the time. You want to try new things, go for it. It's how I encountered these new things, is how I became who I am, is because I tried it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't try it. So, yeah.
One last question before we go. If they want to find out more about you, where do they go to find out more about you?
I'm mostly on Instagram at DJ Supafly. Mostly you can get a hold of me through Facebook, Twitter, or Snapchat. Mostly, I think I'm more on Instagram now towards, because it's more pictures and whatnot. People can see. And I get a lot of questions to Instagram from people, all around the world. So nice. If, they have issues with any of their, because there's a lot of people that I've noticed from the last show that we had, people are still like asking me questions like, wow, this show was like a month or 2 months ago, and they're still asking questions about it. I was like, that's pretty cool. But Instagram is kind of the one that I'm using the most. So yeah. I also got a website, but I use it mostly for the clients, that's social media to communicate. So yeah, whatever social media you prefer, go for it.
That's what my website is pretty much the hub to all my social media. It's pretty much its only purpose. Go here to there, then go there.
Everywhere else, yeah.
We have a second show tonight, John.
That's it. We're Dave and Jeremy. Jeremy's actually spending some time with his daughter, who is celebrating her birthday today. So yay for him. He's off starting a family, and next week they'll be coming in with their new show or their new things, and all the shows are going to be changing next week. Some are going to stay in the same time slot, but they're going to be, the access to them is going to change. So we're going to be posting all of those links, because a lot of these are going to be a specific link that will work all summer long. You just go to that link at the right time and it will take you to the right spot. And we'll have that again going out on Sunday's email, and then it'll go out again probably in Monday's email and maybe Tuesday's email, just to make sure everyone's on board for what's going to be happening for next week. Okay. MJ?
Cool. Well, thank you guys for inviting me and having me here. Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. John, take us out.
Thank you guys one more time. Thank you for watching. We got Facebook and Chew and YouTube. Everyone's having a good time tonight, and the chat was great. So we'll catch you tomorrow night. We got another live show, and then next week will be the new week. We'll catch you then. Good night, everyone.